The history of language and pop culture. History of the languages in the Philippines. The Philippines is a country of many languages, and the journey to modern D Filipino is filled with twists and turns. Regardless, when the Spanish arrived in the 15th, they found a region dominated by three main languages: Tagalog, Ilocano, and Visayan. These three are distinct languages but have enough in common that almost everyone in the country spoke at least two of them, and thus communication was very easy. In addition, there are at least 70 other distinct languages spoken by the people of the Philippines, and there may be as many as 170 all of them distinct languages, not simply dialects. This remarkable number of languages persists to this day. The Spanish naturally conduct their imperial business in Spanish, while Spanish never supplanted the local languages. It certainly had an influence over them, and many of the local languages of the Philippines borrowed words, phrases, and structures from Spanish over the years. America and independence. Although the Philippines declared independence in 1898, Spain had recently ceded that Philippines to the United States via treaty, and the USA did not recognize Philippine independence. It granted the Philippines Commonwealth status instead, and for the next 50 years, as the Philippines slowly moved towards and peaceful independence, English had a large influence on the languages and people as well. In the early 20th century, Tagalog was selected to be the official language of the Philippines along with English. The version of Tagalog chosen was renamed Filipino in order to distance itself from the Tagalog ethnicity and make it appear more universal. In the 1973 constitutions, a further call for a language to replace this to be known as Filipino was made, but in the modern, the Filipino is really just Tagalog. Rename. Filipino is really just a verified of Tagalog spoken in urban Manila, and most Filipinos speak it along with their own regional language, and frequently English as well. Today, Filipino or Tagalog and English are the two official languages of the Philippines, which 7 other regional languages recognized officially. The Philippines has one of the densest concentration of distinct languages in the world. At that, linguistic tradition has helped shape modern the Philippines. And next, the history of the pop culture in the Philippines. Philippine popular cultures building a culture has to start with a foundation, and that foundation must necessarily be the culture of the Filipino people. It is called be separated with the incrustation grown on it by colonial rule. Folk culture versus national culture. Folk culture is the way of living in a place in a specific time and portrays the practices of a certain people and on how they cope to survive with nature. Nationalist culture is the culture created through colonial resistance with a collective of a people of a given place and time. Examples of folk cultures: oral literature, riddles, sayings, legends, at kwentong bayan, epiko. Examples of national cultures: Florante at Laura, Dolomitang Ari, and Epilobestra mismo, kaingat kayo. Popular cultures in the Philippines was created and used by the Spaniards to the native Filipinos of India's view, place, and literature to get the heart of the natives and win it. The first permanent Spanish settlement began replacing the native culture with a Christian and European tradition. The children of the native elite under the tutelage of the missionaries become a core group of the intelligentsia called Ladinos, as they become instrumental or bringing into the vernacular literary forms that were to be vehicles for the pacification of the natives. Forms of popular theater and literature such as the Passion, Cenaculo, and Corrido ensured the acceptance and spread of the Christianity, and the Commedia and Awit did the same for the monarchy. Popular culture at the time
Issue before of language and pop culture. Language is a cultural component which can be described as a cultural communicating system that used by people of a particular country in order to convey their purpose. Language and culture are intertwined to such an extent that one cannot survive without the other. Culture is what brings us together as human beings. As social creatures, culture gradually converts to personality, and all personalities altogether form culture. Culture cannot be translated easily, so it is difficult to know how one can be familiar with all cultures and pop cultures in one region. Those regions that are nearby are closer in cultural conventions. They impact on each other, share and transfer norms more easily than those that are too far from each other. Language is rooted in culture, and culture is reflected and passed on by language from one generation to the next. The relationship between language and culture is deeply rooted. Language used within one culture and the whole intertwining of those relationships starts at one's birth.
From the moment we're born, language and pop culture surrounds and influence us. It's the belief and practices that group of us have something in common. But how language and pop culture affect our culture nowadays? Well, we see language and pop culture all day, every day. The way we interact with language and pop culture says a lot about us. Your favorite music says a lot about what kind of lyrics and rhythm get you in that mood. The kinds of music or books you are reading and hearing volumes about the stories and themes you enjoy. You might have a toy based on a favorite characters of yours from a TV show or comic book. When you show interest in something, it shows what value you as an individual.
How issues were solved. Popular culture, basically described as new world, which is created by young generation. Popular culture has changed the point of view of our life in many ways. It has made our life more enjoyable than ever before. Popular culture has many positive benefits personality as well as on our society by entertainment, by TV shows and commercial ads as well as by art and artists. It is often expressed and spread via commercial media such as radio, television, movies, the music industry, and corporate run websites. In addition to its value, culture provides important social and economic benefits with improved learning and health, increased tolerance and opportunities to come together with others. Culture enhances our quality of life and increase overall well-being for both individuals and as communities.